the Weston range. We rode this with Adidas Tactical ATVs, Union Atlas, Union Strata, and Union Falcors. You know, to give you a quick summary, we went out and compared this against all these boards here and the Yes Globe, not so basic. And we gotta say, out of all these boards, it definitely has its own unique personality. It feels pretty technical, pretty drivey, pretty carvy, and kind of aggressive. You know, for an all mountain board, it's that kind of quiver of one. It's got a 20 mil setback on side cut and a little more setback on board. Check the on the table review for that. But then it's a true twin. It seems like it's got some strong grip, maybe a slight disruption in the side cut, and just an overall like aggressive mountain freestyle twin that you can set back and powder. Let's take a look at this flex. You can kind of see it feels like
medium stiff.
Yeah, medium stiff. Like it feels medium stiff between the feet, a little like more medium in the tip and tail. And then when you throw that camber, when you put that camber into play with the early rise rocker in the tip and tail, it makes the tip and tail a little easier to butter than you would think. But it's still definitely some work to butter, but it's got lots of pop. It feels really dynamic and really poppy. And if you compare it to even like, you know, this loaded Algernon, which is kind of like a board with a little more camber, you can see it's got a little more, you know, a little more pop, a little more flex. Maybe, you know, next to the basic Decade. Oh yeah, this is softer. Yeah, this is more medium and almost medium soft in the tip and tail. And then against the basic Globe was kind of the same thing. And then this Mercury is kind of like that nice medium too. Yeah. Yeah. The on snow feel, there's definitely some early rise, and it's nowhere near as catchy as camber, like a full camber board would be. But it definitely, of all these boards here, it definitely felt the most technical and closer to being locked in. You know, probably, wouldn't you call it like, you know, semi-locked in?
Yeah, and I also did find it to be more catchy riding switch than any of these boards we tried.
Yeah, this is a little more technical, a little more aggressive, not really ideal for those who want to skid their turns. Even the loaded Algernon, which has a similar camber profile, skidded its turns a little easier, where and those were way easier. But it's got this interesting kind of like, almost feels like a wider platform underfoot than you would think. That's not good or bad. It's just, if you're more of a beginner intermediate, you probably don't want to go with this. As far as sizing goes, yeah, I think the 158 was right, but I could have been pretty happy on the 155.
I don't think there's any way I could have ridden a 55.
No, too small. You needed the mid-wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 10.5 on Adidas, so you can ride the boards that I'm riding, but you'd be much happier on a bigger, you know, bigger board. But this EDGEHOLD, I think there might be some slight disruption. I can't tell if that's just where the camber comes down or what, but it's so subtle. It doesn't grab in soft snow, but it grips well in harder snow, and we've seen all kinds of conditions with this board. The turn initiation, it's kind of slow. I would say like medium. Medium. Yeah. Yep. It's on the slower side. All these boards turned much faster. Even the Mercury, I felt, was like, oh yeah. This is like on the medium slow side of medium, you know, like turn initiation wise. And we even had some pretty responsive bindings on this guy too. The turning experience in carving, there's lots of pop, there's lots of good grip, and there's lots of drive. This really didn't feel like this quick super carver. It felt like you just wanted to go like this, you know, down the run, and it really didn't feel like an amazing circle carver.
Good for long radius turns and maintaining high speeds. Yes,
that's what it felt like. For speed, this thing can bomb pretty well, even though it's got a lot of pop and it's got a dynamic feel. They didn't skip the chatter problem. They really like put in enough dampening properties to keep this from being too ultra chattery. Like the basic decade. Like today we were riding in some kind of crowded, messy groomers, and the basic decade was just like bah, 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 you know, where this was powering through it and over it. I was kind of on par with, you know, the loaded Algernon and the Mercury. Uneven terrain, I felt like, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was fairly damp.
Yeah, it's fairly damp. It's just not super mogul. It's not a mogul weaver. Yeah. But it can handle over the snow pretty well. And switch, you know, it's a like true twin or directional twin, but it feels like a true double ender. You know, you can like I could ride switch either way, but being such a technical board, didn't you?
It's a little difficult. This was a very difficult board for me to ride switch.
Yeah.
Just a little sort of, like we said before, a little knifey, and just it's a technical board. Like if you're intermediate, whatever, I don't think riding this switch unless you're really good is gonna be fun.
So I barely got any powder on this, just a few inches here and there, and it's not really a powder day. But you know, it does check the on the table review. It does have decent setback on board. You know, it's kind of inconclusive. We were hoping to get some more powder, but it just dumped for like 3 weeks, and then right when we turned our attention to this board and got off the backwoods, and we're like, okay, next, nothing. As far as park goes, like, yeah, man, this thing excels at jumps.
If you're confident with jumps and you're probably high level advanced,
yeah, this could work for you. Launch, and this has great pop. It really springs up underfoot. Jibs, no thanks. I'd rather be on the Algernon or the Decade in pipe, but because this is a little slow for me edge to edge. But maybe if I size down to a 55, that might be pretty fun, you know? So anything else you want to add?
I think like all Weston boards that I've tried, I mean, it just seems like they use great quality of materials. It's got a really durable top sheet. It seems to be a really durable top sheet. We haven't done any long-term testing, but
it's real. It's easy on the boots.
Yeah,
it stick well to it.
It just seems like Weston's using. They're not skimping on materials at all. That they're really making quality product. I don't know too much more about them, but hope to try some more.